Hello, How and Hoover. This is Mr. Hain with another video. This one goes along with second grade's astronaut floating in space with balloons picture. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you through the steps of how to draw this and then some ideas or tips when you go to color it. Because again, picking what you use to color it in with is totally up to you. I'm going to show you advantages of using the crayons and the Crayola markers, but of course if you have watercolors and you wanted to use those, that's totally fine as well. I'm going to start with my pencil and then I'm going to Sharpie it before I color. Okay? Let's get started. Okay, set this one aside for now until we go to coloring. When we make this, depending on the size of your paper, we want to make sure that our astronaut fits in here, and then we have room for the balloons. If I make my astronaut this big, then I'm going to have these really short strings for the balloon. So you're actually, for this one, you want to make sure your astronaut is at least smaller than half of the paper that you're working on. Okay? So when we start this, this is just my version of an astronaut. If you have your own or you vary it a little bit from this, that's totally fine. So one thing I want to do is make the head first. This tells me the size of the rest of the body, and I'm going to kind of adjust some of the proportions, meaning the size of the head to the body, to be a little more cartoon-like, just because I think it adds to the fun of it, meaning I'll probably make the head bigger than it would normally be. So I'm going to lightly start with a circle. Okay, very light, because I'm not going to keep that circle shape in the final copy. That's just to give me my head size and to know where to put things. So once I have my circle down, actually I'm going to draw the straight lines on the side, and I'm going to connect the top. So that's the top of the helmet. Then the bottom part is also going to have that rounded part as well. Okay, so I take my circle, I kept the top curve and the bottom curve, but I made the sides straight. Then I'm going to draw two lines on either side that are up and down. This is going to be part of the glass of the mask. So this one I'm going to actually curve down this way, and this one's going to follow the curve of the bottom part of the helmet too. I also like to add over here these kind of little that would be bolts that would almost in theory hold the face shield on. Just adds a little extra to it, so I put that on. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with his arm that's hanging down. So I'm just drawing the shoulder that comes out about this far, so not that far from his helmet. It shouldn't be all the way out here. And I'm going to curve my arm down, and then I'm going to make another bend. So I have the shoulder, elbow, and then where the wrist is going to be. So I draw the line for the wrist, follow my line back, okay, and stop here when it would connect to his upper body. For the hands, we're going to simplify them, where I draw a line that comes out for like the thumb, comes in a little bit, and then it's kind of the back part of the hand, almost as if it's like a fist, but you would just see the knuckles. Okay? Then that leaves us with the other arm, and we want this one to be in like a natural pose, holding the balloons. So again, I'm going to start from the helmet. I'm going to come out just a little bit to get a little bit of space to get away from the helmet, the little line. Then I'm going to draw this line up, and it should be about the same distance as this, so somewhere around here. Then it's going to curve up just a little bit more straight. Again, stop where the wrist would be. Draw my line down where the elbow is. Kind of come down a little bit further and then into where his chest and waist would be. So for this side, for the other side, I'm going to curve in a little bit this direction with my line. Draw a line here. Okay. So I have his arm. Now I want the hand up here that's going to be holding the balloons. I'm going to draw a line that comes out. This is going to be his thumb that's almost like this. So we need to make this line that kind of comes up, goes across, and comes back down. So I come up, go across, go back down. Just kind of make the curve for the thumb. And again, we're simplifying it. So up here, draw my fingers. These would be this general shape. So just like that. Draw, depending on how many balloons you want to have, some lines that start to curve up. We can adjust these later, but I'm going to start with 3. Now I'm going to make the legs. For this one, again, they're going to be slightly shorter, so this leg, because he's floating, we want to make sure that it again feels a little bit natural. So we have my line coming out, The knee would be here, bends down, make a curve for where the ankle would be, come back up, inner knee. This one's going to curve away too. Now for the feet, I think that really makes it feel like it's floating is we want them to be down at an angle. They shouldn't be like straight across, because if anyone's ever hanging, usually your feet, you know, it should be kind of downwards if you're floating. Okay, so I'll draw this little line for like the boot. Come in here, you can draw a little thing for laces. So I have the heel, come down to the front for the toe. Okay. Now you want to add like other little details. So if your guy's an American astronaut, I can draw the United States flag on here. Usually the astronaut look is there's like these curves at the joints. So maybe 3 lines for the elbows, 3 lines for like the knees. I usually put like a zipper here for a suit. Now you can add, this is optional, but I like to add some type of like oxygen tank on the back. So I can draw my lines kind of making these L shapes off here on the side. And I can run a hose here to the back. I can draw these kind of zigzag lines on the glass part that I will color in black around it. You'd have the strings for your balloons that would come down the bottom of the hand. And up here for the balloon shape, if you start with the bottom knot and then just make your balloons up here, you can add the highlight, curved, okay, so you have your astronaut and your balloons drawn. If you want to put planets or anything in here, you can draw them and just keep them pretty small. Maybe there'd be one back here, so I make a circle. The planets I like to make, if you want to make Earth you can, or if you just make these kind of zigzag lines, it's going to, read like planets floating back here. One thing to keep in mind, like in mine, if he was up a little bit further, it might not look like he's standing at the edge. So again, that's something that you could, you want to think about before you place this out. How big is your guy going to be on your paper? So like really, if I was to redraw this, I'd probably actually make him slightly smaller and up just a little bit higher. Okay? So that's how we draw our astronaut. The next step would be outlining it all in Sharpie. So I'll switch back to this one. Again, I don't have planets, but I'll draw one in so I can show you for coloring. Circle, zigzags. Okay. So again, you could pick anything you want to color it with. One thing is we're probably going to leave. I would either leave the spaceman suit white or make it orange. But either way is up to you, or any color. But let's say I leave it white for now, and I'm going to do the space in black. The crayon's nice with coloring black because you can get a really nice even black on here. Pretty quickly. It just kind of fills. It can be very even when it's applied, so it looks all the same. You can keep it lighter, or if you go in and apply more pressure, you can make it much darker. And also the nice part about crayons is you do have the ability to blend, where I can lessen my pressure as I get further away from that dark spot, and you can make gradients of color. So in like your planet or giving your spaceman shadows, the crayons are really nice for that. Okay, so like if I wanted to do, say, a red balloon with the crayons, and you could mix and match markers and color crayons if you wanted. But let's say I have my red balloon. I would lightly color the whole thing in. Okay, this is the highlight here. So meaning that's the lightest areas are going to be around here. So I'm going to keep that pretty light. But as I get further away, I'm going to apply more pressure. You can really get like a nice blend with it. So crayons are fun in that sense. Now the markers are very nice because they're just, the color is so rich and consistent to begin with. So if I was going to do black, like let's say fill in around here, okay, it makes a really nice consistent color. So some people really like, if you're really into that kind of like comic book or you know, graphic novel feel, the markers are nice for that. One thing that I always find with the markers, especially filling in large areas, is sometimes when you overlap, you can see the variations in your coloring marks, and that's kind of always bugged me a little bit, but that's really just a personal choice if you want to use that or not. So I fill this in. Again, maybe you would do the background in crayon and then the astronaut in marker, but it's up to you. So if I fill this in black, okay. It does make the guy stand out a lot, especially when you put this black in against it, especially if you leave him white. So that's one way of coloring it. Again, the planets, if you want to blend, even mix two colors. Let's say I get my green and blue. I can lightly put my green in. I can take my blue, lightly start on the other side doing circles. Okay, put more pressure on the blue side. Again, less pressure as I get further away from that. Take my green and reverse that, more pressure over here on the green side. Do circles over top of the blue. You can get some really nice color fades and blending going on. Okay? Yeah, have fun with it. I will be excited to see what you guys make, and I hope you enjoy it. See you later.